Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. Coming up, we find out whether Grimsby is the worst place in the UK to be a man. We have another canine looking for a home in Dog of the Week. And my guest tonight is Terry Brown, former immediate past president of the Grimsby Cleethorpes Lions Club, who's here to tell us about the Monte Carlo Banger Rally, which literally ended in a bang. Welcome to Estuary News. I'm Emma Lingard. Now it's over to Erica Barker for the news headlines.
In the headlines today, workers at Tata Steelworks in Scunthorpe are to stage a 24-hour walkout tomorrow in a dispute over pay. The members of the community trade union, cleaners, cooks and admin staff at the newly created subsidiary are to strike. The union says so far negotiations have failed to produce a solution and that they have no other option but to take industrial action. Armed officers and a police helicopter descended on Grimsby's East Marsh last night after unconfirmed reports of a man possessing a gun. It's been reported that Humberside police blocked off part of Duke Street and that a man was arrested. It's been going 810 years and Brig Horse Fair is as important now as it was then. That's according to the travelling community. The fair, which attracts hundreds of people from around the UK, is held every year on August the 5th. It's one of the last few remaining traditional horse fairs.
It's 810 years today it's been going. You know what I mean? It's a thing that we've just kept up. It's a meet-up for us all. You know what I mean? We sell horses, we buy horses, whatever we can do.
Hull MPs Alan Johnson and Diana Johnson are backing Yvette Cooper in the Labour leadership race, with Mr Johnson saying Miss Cooper is a candidate with the intellect, the experience and the inner steel to lead the party back into government in 2020. And a group of young people in Grimsby are hoping to get a foot on the career ladder as they undergo a 12-week personal development course with the Prince's Trust. In partnership with Humberside Fire and Rescue, 14 teenagers have been able to gain work experience, qualifications and practical skills. Well, Jamie Knight would like a career in IT and says it's been a valuable experience.
It is a great experience. You get so much out of it. So it's like if you want work, this is something you have to go for.
And that's all from the news.
Thank you, Erica. Grimsby seems to be increasingly represented in a negative light in the national press, recently being named the worst place to live in the UK as a man. It comes after Skint filmed in the town, the East Marsh was named the worst place to live in the country, and Grimsby was named as one of the top 10 towns to move away from. Sounds like there's no hope, but is the town all that bad, and does it get an unfair amount of negative publicity? We decided to find out.
Everywhere has both good and bad sides, but it can be said that Grimsby's bad sides get shown off more than most. After Skint, the town continues to appear in a bad light in the national press, this time in Shortlist magazine, which has named it the worst place to be a man in the UK. One person who knows the positives of Grimsby is its new MP Melanie On, who is keen to push the positive sides of Grimsby on the national stage.
Yeah, definitely. I think we take more than our fair share of ribbing on a national stage, but we've got some amazing things to be proud of. You know, we're at the centre of a renewables revolution in terms of the way that energy is provided in our country. So capitalising on positives like that, I think are really about what the future of Grimsby needs to be. And I read that article and I was really disappointed actually to see some people from Grimsby echoing some of that sentiment, and I think we've got to have a little bit of confidence in ourselves and say actually it's not rubbish, it's not all terrible, there's loads of good stuff that's going on.
But what do the public of Grimsby think of the town's constant negative presence in the press? Their responses were somewhat mixed.
Well, I think it's all true. I'm afraid to say it's getting rougher and rougher, and I've even tried to sell my house because I'm surrounded by roughnecks.
Well, yeah, it does have bad press, but there are good areas like everywhere, good and bad, but yeah, it's not too good at the minute. Quite a lot of violence,
especially due to alcohol, isn't it, really?
I lived here quite a few years ago, and it is going down a little bit in my estimation, but it's like everywhere else, isn't it?
No, that's wrong. Everywhere's got the bad bits. Everywhere's got the good bits.
I think it's all right.
We don't come out very often.
No, it has. It's got a bad press, but you get it everywhere. But I think it's okay.
Well, I've been working away for about 5 years, and I did notice, I've been back probably a year now, that things had changed. I mean, like any town, there's pluses and minuses, you know, but I was born and bred here.
It's not the best, I must admit. It's, like I say, very few jobs, to be honest. It certainly needs something doing with it. I'm not really sure, to be honest. Like I say, I've lived here for 50 years, and I've certainly seen it go downhill.
Melanie says it frustrates her that while she is trying to do what's best for the town and push it in Parliament, these negative images keep being brought up time and time again. She accepts there is work to be done in the town, but says there are bad areas everywhere in the country and the people of Grimsby should be proud of the town they live in.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even in some of the cities. So I don't know, if you look at places like Bradford, Hull has also had its fair share of negativity, being called hell sometimes. So we might quite enjoy doing that. You know, Scunthorpe as well. You know, it's unfortunate, I think, that, you know, the name perhaps doesn't conjure up, you know, kind of the very, you know, the more positive aspects of the town. However, you know, for those of us living, working here, we know that there's a lot more than a London journalist who's come up for the day could ever possibly appreciate.
You're watching Estuary News. Coming up later, we find another pooch a home in Dog of the Week. And Erica Barker has all the latest sports news. It's an organisation that started in America in 1917 to expand businessmen's horizons to the needs of the community. Branches sprung up all over the globe and they called themselves the Lions Clubs. Well, Grimsby and Cleethorpes has one, and joining me to tell us more is Terry Brown, immediate past president. Welcome, Terry, to Estuary. Now, before we talk about your Monte Carlo rally and what happened with that, the Lions then in Grimsby, how long has that actually been running?
Well, our club's been around almost 50 years.
Right.
And we do have one of the original members still with us. Yeah.
That's quite an achievement, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's commitment, isn't it?
It is.
Loyalty.
And I mean, one thing about your members, everybody gives their time voluntary, don't they?
That's right, yes. We're a completely voluntary organisation, and people obviously can join. And we try to do good in the community. Okay. And at the end of the day, who makes up the membership? I mean, where do these people come from? Are they all still businessmen? Oh no, it's quite a cross-section of people that we have in our club. Right. In fact, I think the clubs generally across the board, they're all made up of a mixture of people, which is a good thing. Yeah, so that they come with all skills and experience. Absolutely, yes. Because I suppose your aims and objectives at the end of the day are to raise funds for charity, aren't they? Well, we put a great percentage of any money that we raise goes back into our local community projects. Okay. And so we, when we raise money, it's with a cause in mind. Right. And every penny that we make goes to those causes. Which is a good thing, isn't it, that people are seeing those benefits? Well, I think it's one of the things that drew me to the Lions, the fact that if we made £1,000, then that £1,000 went to the causes that we support. And each year, do you pick charities you want to support, or do you get approached by people? And how does it work? We often get approached by people who either write to us, or they email us. It's picked up on the website, and then it's taken to the club, and the club probably go and have a chat with the cause or the people who are needing help.
Yeah.
And then it comes back to the club and we make a decision and we support them in whatever way we can.
Okay. I mean, do you have any criteria as to who is deserving? Because I imagine you probably get lots of requests, do you, from people?
We do get a lot of requests, and we try to look upon every request personally and according to individual needs.
Okay.
But we generally support most of the causes that ask us.
And I mean, how much money would you fundraise each year?
The last several years we have raised somewhere in the region of £20,000.
Heck, that's a large
year.
amount of money, isn't it? And what type of fundraising activities do you do?
Well, we have an annual beer festival for those people
must
who
be very popular.
For those people who can remember it. We have things like we had a fashion show last year.
Yeah.
We have a sale day each year, which is coming up in September, October, where we have a Lions van and we collect things that people are giving away.
Yes.
And we store it.
Yeah.
And then we sell it on our sale day.
Brilliant.
And it usually makes somewhere in the region of about £2,000.
Yeah, that's a good thing, because I suppose the fundraising, when you're volunteers, it's a lot of hard work, isn't it?
It is. We have one particular committee that specialises in fundraising, another that specialises in actually investigating causes that are looking for help.
Right.
And we have a third committee which is fun. It's a social committee.
Because that, like you said, it's about fun and fundraising,
Absolutely.
isn't it?
It is, yes.
To make sure. Well, don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk more about one of your fundraising activities. So stay where you are. Right, now it's time to find a home in Dog of the Week. Right, when we come out of this, which is not long.
Dog number 126 is a lurcher, a mature bitch, walks well on the lead, very clean in the kennel, likes a bed. Obviously they don't need a lot of exercise, is what people think, but they love to just lay on a couch for all day.
Now, still with me in the studio is Terry Brown from Grimsby Cleethorpes Lions Club. So we were talking just a second ago, obviously, about the fundraising side. Now, you took part in the Monte Carlo or Bust Banger Rally, didn't you, last month?
We certainly did.
Why did you decide to take part in it?
Well, we first heard about it about a year ago, and we decided as a Lions Club it would be fun.
Yeah.
It would raise the profile of the Lions in the community. And most importantly, it would be an event where we could raise some money for our chosen cause, which in this case was the Lynx Knots Air Ambulance.
Okay.
So.
And as part of your requirements, you had to buy a car, didn't you?
We did. The rules state you can buy a car which you can spend up to £300 on.
Right.
And we were very fortunate that one of our sponsors actually bought us the car.
Yeah.
And then we went round raising funds. We went round and talked to local businesses who gave us money for putting their logo on our car.
Yeah.
The college were ever so good. They printed out all these sticky labels to put on the car.
Yeah.
And we had somewhere in the region of 25, 26 stickers on the car.
Brilliant.
And of course it was raising not just the Lions profile, but the profile of the businesses who were helping by putting back into the community.
And of course we saw you because you set off from the pier.
We certainly did.
Didn't you? On that glorious day. What was the journey like down there?
The journey down there was, it was okay. It was quite long, bearing in mind that when we got on the ferry, we'd got another 2 hours to travel when we came off.
Yeah.
And the first stopover was a place called Saint Quentin, typical French town built around a square. And we had to go dressed in theme. We had to go dressed in swimming costumes and Hawaiian gear, because every year, Saint Quentin being in the middle of France and not near the sea, they bring in hundreds of tons of silver sand and create their own resort in the middle. So that was interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
And of course, the next morning we were invited to go and meet the other competitors. And it brings a lump to your throat when you see all these decorated cars.
Right.
And see all the charities that they are raising money for.
Where do people, do they come from all over Europe for this then?
Certainly, I do believe there were a couple of cars from outside the UK.
Right.
But by and large, they were from the UK.
Okay.
100 teams.
Did you meet anybody when you were travelling down there on the ferry and think, oh yeah, they're taking part?
Yes, you could tell by the car because they were decorated. But it was very team orientated. If somebody was in trouble, then you were on a bound to stop and help.
Yeah, and of course because how many miles did you have to drive?
It would have been 2,300.
Okay.
But we actually ended up doing about, I think about 1,400.
Okay, and obviously you reached your destination,
didn't
you?
Yes,
you did.
We achieved.
I was going to say, was it all cheers and jubilation when you got there?
Yes, it was. We were obviously very, very proud to have achieved what we set out to.
Yeah.
But it was about 40 degrees. And when you're driving a car which is ailing on the wrong side of the road in very hot temperatures, it became quite tiring, to be honest.
So this is it, on that return journey, this is when it happened, didn't it?
Yes.
So did it literally just go with a bang?
Well, we'd pulled into a lay-by just north of, or a service station just north of Dijon on the way back, which is probably about 6 hours from the ferry. And we swapped drivers. I'd been driving, and the young man who took over driving, there was a whistling noise.
Oops.
And he said, "What's that?" And one of the mechanics amongst us said, "It could be the turbo." And with that, he said, "What's all that black smoke behind?" And the engine started to race, and so we were on the motorway, and we pulled in, did the safe thing, everything safely.
Yes, yeah.
And that was the end of that.
Oh no, so you had to obviously make your own way back here in the end.
Yes.
But how much money are you planning to raise from this?
We would hope that it will be in the region of £3,000 or over.
And you're still collecting money, aren't you, through your Just Giving page?
Yes, we have a Just Giving page. We have a Facebook page.
Yeah.
And we also have a website. If you run a search for Grimsby, Cleethorpes, Lions, Just Giving, or just their web page, it will come up.
Brilliant. Well, thank you ever so much. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for today. I'm pleased you all got back safely.
Absolutely.
And obviously, if people do want to help, then obviously go to their Just Giving page and you can help out. Well, with me now to discuss what's happening in today's news is Erica Barker. Erica, we're starting off with some quite sad stories, aren't we?
We are. There is a renewed appeal to find two teenagers. First then, missing 13-year-old Jack Pargeter from Grimsby. He was reported missing on the 30th of July and was last seen at Widnes railway station. Grimsby Telegraph, regular updates, and there is a photograph on there.
Okay.
Next then, so 16-year-old Oliver Samuels, he went missing on the 16th of July from Immingham. Now, he was briefly seen on Monday in North East Lincolnshire, but he is still missing. So sad news there, so hopefully...
so again, if anybody spots those children, really to contact the police and
contact
get
the
them
police.
home safe. Okay.
Definitely, hopefully.
And staying with children?
Yes, another story then. So... The Shadow Education Secretary, Tristan Hunt, is saying that parents aren't reading to their children because they're choosing to go on the mobile phones, scroll down, look at the emails, Facebook and Twitter, and that, you know, that the children are being neglected in that way. He's saying it is the parents' responsibility to read to the children. It's not all just about the schools, and that he thinks this is going to be a big problem for the next generation.
In speech problems, isn't it?
Yes.
Not being able to talk before they go to school.
So speech development, that this is having a big impact.
Okay, well, that's all we've got time for. A very quick one. Thank you very much for that, Erica. Motorists could be facing new levels of speeding fines and points on their licence due to the improved accuracy of speed clocking equipment. That's according to police. Forces throughout the country have often given drivers the benefit of the doubt when it comes to going slightly over the speed limit, historically an allowance of 10%. But as technology develops, it's thought many forces will now penalise drivers for going just 1 mile per hour over the speed limit. We've been out in Grimsby to find out what people think.
Well, I think that's a bit pathetic, really. I think, you know, they can waste their time doing other things.
The thing is, them couple of mile could make that difference. Do you know what I mean? So
there are some people that take advantage of the situation, isn't there, every time, so you've got to protect the youngsters.
I think you should have a little bit more leeway than 31 miles an hour.
I got done for doing 33 or 34 actually it was in a 30, so perhaps I feel a bit sensitive. We all have to behave ourselves, don't we? I spent a lot of time in London and now it's 20, and you can get done for doing 23 down Camden High Street, so perhaps 30 isn't too bad.
I think if it was the first time, they should be given a bit of leeway. Warned. You know, I don't think it should be a severe punishment. I think everybody, you know, deserves a second chance.
I think it's ridiculous. I really do. I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
And now it's time for the sports news with Erica Barker.
Grimsby's Guy Martin continues preparations for the Ulster Grand Prix today ahead of the world's fastest road race on Saturday. Martin, an 11-time winner, is the fourth most successful rider in the history of the County Antrim event. Scunthorpe United have appointed Steve Taylor as their new chief scout. Taylor has been a coach at Derby County for 20 years. He also worked with the Iron boss Mark Robbins at Rotherham United, Barnsley, Coventry City and Huddersfield Town. Grimsby boxing pro Kevin Hooper is busy in preparations for the attainment of the English lightweight title. The 31-year-old will enter the ring in just over 10 weeks, going toe-to-toe with Adam Dingsdale at Grays Civil Hall on the 17th of October. Elsewhere, tickets are on sale for the bout between Nathan French and an opponent yet to be named. Taking place on the 29th of August at Doncaster Dome, the 25-year-old in the pro ranks has not lost in 4 fights. Hull Daily Mail reports that Hull City are still hopeful of signing Brentford pair Moses Adubjo and Andre Gray in the team's head-off with Huddersfield on Saturday, and that despite the club's $9 million offer for the players being rejected, the Tigers yesterday launched a joint bid for the Bees duo, even though they triggered the $3.5 million release clause in Adubjo's contract last Friday. The player has been at the club's training ground since Saturday, agreeing personal terms on a 3-year contract. And that's all from the sport.
Well, that's it for tonight. Thank you to my guest, Terry Brown. Don't forget their Just Giving page if you want to go and donate. Before we go, Erica, you've got a ghost story for me.
Do you know what? Ghosts exist. Did you know that?
Okay, we've got proof now,
I'm bringing it breaking news. Well, the Old Right Heart, a pub in Hull, is considered as one of the most haunted pubs in the city. Yeah. Some drinkers have taken some photographs of some ghostly characters. And there's been some keys hanging on the wall that have been moving, that have been spotted.
Right, I think that is a story for you and Dave to look into.
I'm gonna go investigate.
I think you should. You like your coffee shop ghost, now go and find your pub ghost. Right, that's it, Erica, off to ghost stories. If you've a news story for us, visit our Facebook or Twitter pages, email us or pick up the phone and call us. Until tomorrow, good night.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Winds and a dry, largely sunny start to Friday. Cloud will build through the morning, allowing some showers to develop during the afternoon, and perhaps some becoming locally heavy. Dry overnight with a maximum temperature of 22 degrees. Fine and warm on Saturday, the winds will pick up later.